Hello, everyone. Welcome to Whispers of the Soul, Living the Truth of Your Being. So what we're going to be exploring is, what does it mean to be a spiritual being? I think we're all pretty familiar with that concept. You know, maybe we don't understand it, maybe we don't even believe it, but we've all probably heard it by now. So my name is Kaaren, and I have with me Wendi and Shelly, and any other guests that show up. But Wendi and Shelly will be our co-hosts, so if you have any questions or anything, holler at them. So this is our purpose here. An ongoing every Thursday is to accompany one another on this journey that we call life. So, all right. Wendi, you were going to say something?
Yes. Tonight we will be discussing what it means to be a spiritual being with Kaaren Thomas, also known as Blue Sky Woman. As we explore this topic, she will be interacting with her counsel while Shelly and I field your questions and pass them on to her. The questions, that what you'll need to do is open up your chat box. It's in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, and you just type, any questions, concerns that you have in there. And if there's something that is being said that you don't quite understand, please feel free to, to say, hey, I go back over that. I don't know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. And I'm happy to do it. So right now, what I am feeling on this as we're getting into the topic is that is a feeling of such calmness and lightness and bigness. Like, obviously my physical body is so a certain size, but energetically I feel bigger. So I think where they want to start with is that this concept of being a spiritual being. No?
I'm sorry, I'm being interrupted.
Okay, sorry. It's okay. I'm like, what? Maybe you couldn't hear me or something.
You're doing perfect. You're doing perfect.
Okay. That this concept of being a spiritual being has in it not only like religious and life, but it's affirming, and that we can kind of step into that spiritual side of us, even though we're here in this physical body. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right now?
Right now.
Okay.
One thing I would like to clarify right away is, and I hear that the way people often talk about it, they'll say like their soul is in their body. You familiar with that?
Yes.
And it's not. Your body is just a small piece of who you are. Your soul, your eternal being, your energy is much bigger. And within that are all these components: mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical, this body, in addition to all kinds of other kinds of energies and knowings and beings and things that we don't even understand. But we talk about mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical. Those are the ones that we kind of have our heads wrapped around. So, but the soul is not in here. This is in my soul. So same for everybody. Okay. So,
Would you
want
like
to give you a question?
Yes. So we realized last week we need to start out with some basic questions so we have a common understanding. So who and what are we?
Oh, that's such a basic question, Shelly. In a nutshell, in what I don't know, and I'm not capable of knowing. I don't think that we any of us are. We are all so much more nuanced, powerful, connected than we even understand. And I know of the four of us on here right now, we all know, we've all had experiences where we felt something, knew something, had an interaction with a being from somewhere else that gave us a taste of that. But the same is like, we don't really know who those beings are from somewhere else. Like, they can maybe say their name and give you a clue like where they're from. A lot of the ones that I have talked to, they're always from some place that nobody ever heard of before, a galaxy far, far away. And so I can't even understand them. But I am okay with accepting and being that I don't understand it. And so for myself, I know that I have the godness in me, that is part of me, because the same as and this was a big learning for me. I would always share with people, when you're trying to get this concept of creation and creator, like, where could you go? Think of a place in the universe where you could be where creator wasn't. You can, yeah, you can't. So it's easier for me. I think it's easier to think of it that way than to go, well, where's all the places that creator is? Everywhere. Okay, is there any place where he's not? No, I can't figure that out. But what I have been more recently going, okay, that means, and I knew this in my head, but traveling it down to my heart, is that creator is in me. And so if I love creator, then I have to love me.
Mm.
And so that brings me back to your question, like, who am I? Well, I am a piece, a fleck, a dot of creator experiencing the universe from my perspective, but also when I allow myself, I can see it from creator's perspective. Or have any of you ever, blah, blah, blah. You can experience things in other forms. Like I've had experiences of being like on the ground in the grass and doing a meditation in which I like get folded into the ground and I can feel the wind blowing on the grass on me. I can feel the worms and the dirt, and I can see the zebras and feel them feeding on the grains and everything. So we have that capacity of experiencing the universe in ways more than just what we think in here, right? We can experience it from another perspective once we allow ourselves to. I'm still going to be me, but I'm connected to everything. And so what you would call that, what name that would be, I don't know. So whatever you want to call that, that's who we are.
Well, that was the next question is, what is the soul?
While she's doing that, I want to mention my mom taught me something once. When she was having troubles with a person, that the God in me honors and respects the God in you. And that's how she made peace with a coworker that was pretty mean to her.
Mm-hmm. That's a powerful way to be, that whole namaste, the takias, and all those expressions, Lakesh. So there's, in the back of my mind, at some point, I want to collect all of those from all over the world. Our soul is the vibration, is the energy through which we are individual. Although the soul and energy is all connected to everything and everywhere, but soul, my soul, is that specific frequency that is me, that distinguishes me from everything else. Because although I am connected to everything, I am still my own individual person, my own individual being. Whether I'm in this body or another body and another planet, another place, no body. I mean, I have my spirit body, right? My soul body, whether I have a physical body or not, but I still have that frequency of that's who I am.
Very interesting.
I like that. I've never heard it that way, you know.
And that's what's so fun about doing this is that they tell us stuff. They're like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
That
Better perspective.
I love that. That ties into the next question, which I'm going to alter a little based on your answer. Can you help us understand a little more about what you might mean by spiritually, by frequency, or what kind of energy the soul is made of? What is this whole frequency talk I hear about all the time?
Now, did I use the right word in using frequency? I don't know, because I don't even understand frequency and vibration and all those things here on Earth, even though I use the word because that's what I think is the right word. But it's the same like my cell phone. I have no clue what 5G is. I don't know. But I know that that's what it's called, and I use my cell phone because it has some kind of frequency. And then I know there's like frequencies and tones and vibrations and oscillations and all these different words. So again, is frequency the right word? I don't know. But what did you ask me again?
Can you clarify that a bit? Like, what is meant by frequency?
Yeah, well, I guess if like everything has a specific frequency, like my socks that I didn't get to put on yet, my nice wool socks, these have a completely different vibrational fingerprint than this L-arginine that I have to reorder, or this piece of plastic, or anything. Those rose bushes or whatever those are behind you, Shelly. Everything has its own specific frequency, vibration, whatever we're calling it, that identifies it as that. And so that's the same with us. We have our own energy frequency. You know, when you're talking with beings that either humans that have passed on or beings from elsewhere, you don't have to like know where they are. Like my sister has a really cool job. She passed on, it's been 6.5 years now almost. She has a really super cool job. I have no idea where she is. She's shown me what she's doing and it's really powerful and I love it, but I have no clue where that is. But when I reach out to her to talk to her, she knows it because that frequency of me reaching out the frequency of her it doesn't matter over time and what we call time and distance. It's because it's unique to her. So I'm calling for her. I get her. Does that help?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You don't sound very convinced.
Well, you know me, I can go deep on these things. But so then it sounds like a kind of fingerprint that exists within what we are as souls and spiritual energy. Is there a kind of energy the soul's made out of? This life, this divine force that all living things have? Is there any further information on that?
Like you want the recipe?
Yeah.
Well, you know, I think that even if Creator gave it to us, we couldn't figure it out.
We couldn't understand it.
No, I don't think we can understand it. You ever hear that joke? I don't know, it's not really a joke, but it's an analogy, I guess is a better way to put it. That the scientists had, they're at some, you know, international convention, and they're all excited because they figured out how to recreate the Big Bang, and you know they created what they call life, and this is how everything started. And so they're like, okay, well, we got it covered. We understand it. We know how to do it. We know how to do it now. So, you know, maybe we don't really like need God anymore. So they elect somebody to represent them and go meet with God and explain, you know, thank you very much, but we don't need you anymore. You know, we got it covered now. And God's like, really? So you know how to do this now? Yeah, we can do it. we've done it. We've taken these things, put it together, and got the Big Bang. He's like, okay, well, show me. So he starts with a handful of dirt, picks up a handful of dirt, starts going for all the ingredients that he needs, and God says, "Nuh-uh, get your own dirt." Do you get it?
Yeah.
Like we think that we understand, but we are still using God's creation to create what we think we don't need God for. And the same, like anything that we try to delve into that, we can have the language and we can kind of talk, but it's never ever going to be something that we can extrapolate because it's godlike, and we don't understand that. We can't understand that. So that's why I'm like, you want the recipe? It's still going to be God's ingredients. You can't get the recipe and make it, because you have to be God to do it.
That does make a lot of sense, actually.
Okay.
For me. I don't know how you feel. So then, simpler questions then. Why does this experience involve not remembering who and what we really are? Why is it a journey to connect to that and discover that and connect more deeply with who we really are?
Because what would be the point? In simple terms, what would be the point?
Then why are some people more tuned in and others not able to? Now, I have friends who want to connect to that and can't, and lament that, like,
Yes.
I don't get feedback, I don't get intuition.
Yeah.
Right?
And we all have a challenge. And at the same time, we have young ones now coming in who are much more in tune than we were. Right. So it is evolving. And so and a century from now, what are those young ones coming in going to look like? Who knows? And what will their journey be? But for us, for anybody, the journey is you're born, you start here, you have your life, whatever paths it takes, whatever swamps you fall into, whatever trees you climb, whatever bridges you cross or fall off of. We all end up at the end going back home. And the goal for all of us is somewhere in there to do it from within God's parameters, from a godly place and with joy. That's the trick, is do it with joy. So we come here for a reason, and that's a whole nother conversation. And part of the journey is to figure that out. And some of us get it from when we're young. Some of us, we decided that we were going to make it a little harder for ourselves.
Sometimes it feels like a cruel joke.
Yeah, but you did it to yourself.
Well, that's the worst part.
It's like my husband. He is, actually, he's gotten much better, but he's always like, he can't find stuff, whether it's his keys or his wallet or his socks or the craft he was working on or a tool. And he'll be like, where is it? I'm like, well, how do I know? You had it. Where did you put it? And I finally, after years of this, I'm like, it's like you're playing hide and go seek with yourself. You put it somewhere, and then you have to spend all this time like finding it. Like, are you enjoying this? Like it's like hide and seek with you. I don't like playing hide and seek. When I like to put my keys in the same place, my purse in the same place, my phone in the same place, my supplement. I like things where I know where they are, because I don't feel like wandering around playing hide and go seek. But that's my preference, and that's how I choose. And he chooses to play hide and go seek.
Yeah.
It's not like he can't do it this way, but he chose to make a challenge for himself to find his stuff.
Yeah. That's a great analogy. I'm more like you. I like everything has its home, but then every now and again, I put something in a very safe and secure spot, never to be seen again.
Yeah, I do that too. I do that. But yeah, for the most part. And then, anyway. So the fabric of that you and I are so different. My husband is different. Your husband is different. Your kids are different. Everybody that creates this beautiful fabric and energy of it's like creates a vibrancy in our world by having us all be so different, because all those pieces coming together, all those different ways of thinking about things, having different fears, different traumas, different loves, different joys, different preferences, that makes it like, it makes it just makes it much more vibrant and challenging, but at the same time more beautiful. It's like
Like
that I can see like this fabric, and it's got like all these, this like green and gold and all these beautiful colors, and then they're like, okay, but if and there's different shapes and sizes, and one's higher than, but they're all, it's a beautiful whole. And then they showed, okay, well, if it was all the same, it'd be like this flat, just kind of blah tablecloth, kind of just nothing. It just, all the same, and it's just, it doesn't have any, it's like a tablecloth draped over a table. Whereas this other fabric, when they're all, it's like moving. But yeah, that is kind of a cool analogy too.
That's really cool. I love that. So how in this lifetime, how can we get closer? How can we become more in alignment with our soul, with our higher self, with our spiritual self?
One, that phrase, it's an inside job. They say, what's happiness is an inside job, or spirituality is an inside job. I'm not even sure what the phrase is referencing, but in this case, it applies. It's from within you. We often spend decades running around chasing for it outside of ourselves. I live in Green Bay. These people are Packer nuts. That's a big thing. And that's fine. You like football and you like I don't, that's your thing, that's your thing. But when we take those loves and kind of make that be like a priority, and that be kind of an essence of, well, who are you? I'm a Packer fan. I'm a alcoholic. I'm a race car driver. I'm a shopaholic. When you make these things who you are, rather than going, this is who I am, and those are things that I like to do, that is a big difference, right? When you make it about that. And what often, like when you meet somebody, the question, and I haven't done that in a long time, but this is what do you do? Like, what's your job? As if that's who you really are. And if I meet somebody, I want to know who they are. Like, what makes them tick? What makes them happy? What is more of them? Because what you do as a job, unless it's something that is bringing you life, and if you're just going to push the buttons and be a drone, and it's just a job to pay the bills, that's different. But you can have a job, like if you're a gardener and you're feeding people, and that is a good one.
But for a long time, speaking for myself, that's all I did was work. Like, I'd work hours and hours and hours and hours. So there wasn't a lot of time outside of that to have a job, or, like, I wouldn't necessarily want to tell somebody I just met, oh, well, I work and then I go to the club. you know,
Mhm.
because especially if it's somebody you're wanting to impress, like in the working life. So
Yeah.
I can
But
see what.
here again, that's something that we collectively have fallen down on.
Mhm.
You know, we have this thought, this misconception that this technology and mechanization and industrialization and that quicker is better and that we have a better life now, but we have done that at the sacrifice of the essence of who we are. And so not only now are we struggling with these issues of lack of community, poor food quality, all those things. So it makes that leap of finding who we are even stronger. So we, you know, and it's nice to see that you see more and more, like, I don't know, in the news or people are talking about, you know, that I want a job, I want to create something that's good for me, I want to go live on a farm, I want to do this, I want to simplify, simplify, simplify. And simplify doesn't mean you have to be poor or dirty or, you know, it just means that you're not caught up in this thing. Years ago, I read this story. I used to get Yes magazine. This man in, I think, Colombia, he was growing coffee. He had his farm, and he was growing coffee for, you know, the big coffee companies. And every year, he's like getting more stuff, making a little more money, getting more stuff, but getting bigger bills. And then he realized, well, wait a minute, I am doing all this work to make money so that I can pay my bills and buy food when I have a farm that I own and I can just grow my food. You know, so he pulled himself out of that whole cycle. Now, that isn't easy for everybody to do, but we can find ways to simplify our lives and pull ourselves out of that, what they call the rat race, I guess, and find ways to make our life more simple, more whole, in which we are more in tune with who we truly are, which is, you know, this concept of eternity. And share is attributed with saying that if it doesn't matter 5 years from now, it doesn't matter. And if you think about that, that's a very powerful thought. I would always think about it like in eternity. Well, this is just a drop in eternity and it doesn't matter, you know, in the long run. But to make it more easy for us in this human experience, if it doesn't matter in 5 years, it doesn't matter. It really helps us if you sit with it to pull away, to allow yourself. I think it's about allowing. It's about allowing yourself to burst forth. Because we're dragged in all these different ways. We have all these responsibilities and things that we have to do that kind of close us in. But when we center ourselves and allow ourselves to burst forward, those things fall away and then we become closer to understanding that spiritual side of ourselves, that eternal side of ourselves, the one that can that sees the acorn on the ground and has an experience and gets the connection and makes a dog smile and you're on cloud nine and all those little things that are so much more important because they're real than, you know, oh, I made a huge sale today and I'm going to make a lot of money. That's, you know, you get a short-term benefit from that and joy from that, but it's not real and it's not lasting. And it's not something that you can take with you, which gets us back to the topic of being a spiritual being, that we make a lot of decisions and choices and actions to better our life here, but none of that comes with us.
Mm.
So when we make choices and actions on things that do come with us, like that smile of the dog, that goes with you. That memory goes with you. Creating those kinds of things are more aligned with who we are, and can help us all to be more connected to our eternal selves, because we're working for the big picture, not this little short picture that we think we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you're talking about the inner work, and I feel like myself here is part my soul, but it's part who my family taught me to be, who my culture, the values of my culture, right? My lived experience. What can we do to let that authentic part, our soul, come through more so that we can live that authentic life we were meant to live here, and let go, let everything else drop away that is from other, that is distraction in the world.
And that goes back to finding your center, right? When we react rather than respond, then a reaction tends to not be authentic, because it's coming from your past experiences. You're responding in a way, viscerally, rather than centering and going, okay. And initially when we start doing that, sometimes it takes a while to like go through the process. But the more we do it, the more we accustom ourselves to allowing our true self to respond, rather than our experiences to react. Then it becomes more of a habit. It becomes more real. It becomes more pervasive in your life. It makes a difference, when you're driving, right? A car is in your way, or cuts you off, or doesn't use his turn signal, or whatever, and your reaction is like, that jerk, and you want to get on. But when you come from the center, you go, oh, so what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because you're coming from here, and you know that it's nothing. You
Mhm.
wish it well, and off they go.
Yeah. Peace be with you.
What you're saying is, in addition to that inner connection you might experience in prayer and meditation and quietness, trying to connect, there's also an action piece to it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You're describing an action piece to it.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's like when you go on, the way we do dating is so stupid. And I'm not saying don't meditate, not at all, because it's a powerful tool.
Mm-hmm.
But all the meditation in the world, if you don't take it out into if you don't take that practice out into your daily life, then what's the point?
Right.
And it's the same like when you're dating. We go out, we meet somebody, and then we go out to dinner. We go and do things that are not real life situations, and we're being waited on, and we're all dressed up, and we're having a nice conversation, and hopefully having a nice conversation. But it's not real life. So we're not putting into practice, putting our authentic self forward, because it's a fabricated situation. When we want to, in your friendships, you make your friendships because you work together, you do things together, you whatever it is, you do things together, like doing a garage sale or whatever. You do things together, and then you have that experience, and things don't go the way you wanted. Like when we had that garage sale at my house, and we had all the stuff left, but we found a way to deal with it, and we just that builds a stronger bond between two people than if we were just sitting there having tea and everything was hunky-dory.
Right. I do have a question though, about, you were saying it's an inside job, and I just remember feeling the first 25 times somebody said that, what do you mean? I mean, I get what I mean, but what do you really mean? Like, I take away my meaning, but is it the right meaning? What do you really mean an inside job?
Okay. My meaning, your meaning is perfect for you, probably. And all of our meanings, our understandings evolve, right? We know that. You, like you said, the first time you heard it, your brain went here. The second time you heard it, your brain went there. That, you know, our understanding evolves. My understanding at this moment is that it's an inside job, because it's me looking within myself, which is really looking into the universe. But I'm not looking for a book to give me the answer. I'm not looking for a movie or asking somebody else the question. I'm looking into myself and going, what is true for me? And I do, from when I was young, I always would ask myself, why did I respond this way to this situation? Or actually, why did I react? Because that's when you really are off, right? When you respond, that's nice. But I would react. I'm like, what? Why did that bother me so much? Why was I so sad when somebody said this? Or why did I feel so small when they said that? Okay, then I find, okay. So that's why. Okay. But then why is that?
Okay.
I would explore that. Okay. Oh, okay. And then I just keep asking why and why and why, and get as far back as I could go to understand myself.
Perfect. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. And then one other question is that always has, well, not always, but for a long time really bothered me, is people go, oh, just allow, you just have to allow this. Well, what do you mean by that? Or how do you do it? Like, what if you're just beginning in here and, you know, went down this path or whatever, and somebody says, well, you just have to allow it. Well, how? If I haven't been allowing it, but I didn't know I wasn't allowing it, how do I allow it now?
Mm-hmm. That comes back to detachment. We have a preconceived notion of how something should be. Okay, like they tell you when you're meditating, and if a thought comes in, to allow it rather than like beat yourself up, like, "Ugh, I'm not doing this right. Where did that thought? Why do I have this thought? Blah 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 blah." Just go, oh, okay, and like just kind of watch it go across the stage, and okay, thank you, and allow it to be rather than try to push against it.
Okay. Okay.
So in your traffic, I'm going a little right here. In your traffic example, I've wondered often when I'm teaching a classroom of students, or I'm in a doctor's office with other people, or I'm on I-10 with 1,000 people at 5 p.m., are our souls interacting?
I think so.
In what way?
And you know what? And you know what? You know where I got that from? When my eldest son was 3 or 4, we were driving from Lafayette back to Chicago for the weekend. I had been transferred down to Lafayette for a project. We were driving back to Chicago to visit family, and you know it's Friday night, so traffic's bad, and going from Lafayette to Chicago is not fun on a Friday night, and I'd be aggravated, and you know I was saying something nasty to somebody or another that did whatever they did, and he goes, "Mom, don't say that. Why don't say that?" And I'm like, "They can't hear me." And he says, "Yes, they can." And that just floored me. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, he's so right.
Out of the mouths
Of
of babes.
course, yes, of course they can hear me. Not with their ears, but energetically, yeah, they feel that."
Mm-hmm.
And that was really, I mean, and he's now 30 something. So I've had a lot of time to ponder that, you know, and in different situations. Oh, yeah, we're all here together. We can feel each other. We can, you know, the energy in the room, you know, we all know that, you know, feel the energy in the room, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, no, we do. We do. And this is a really cool tool. And I'm gonna hopefully share this often because I really love it. I've just started doing it, I don't know, within the last year, probably. I'm not sure. Doesn't matter. Not all my prayers, but I try every day, especially in the morning. Like I do my prayers and then I'll do like and I when I'm asking for when I'm doing a prayer, where it's about our growth, my growth, the betterment of the world, the advancement of this world, all the troubles of it. When I'm saying it, I envision everybody with me,
Mm-hmm. I did.
all of us together. We bring us to you. Let us find the way. Show us how to come towards you to do what we need to do. And I couldn't tell you the name of who is with me, but I know I can feel that they're there. So whatever souls are, and do they know that their soul is with me, that we're doing this prayer together consciously? I'm sure not. Although it would be really cool if they were, if they
Well,
did.
yeah.
Yeah, I start calling them because, well, that's a whole nother conversation. But anyway, so I think that's I'm like, I love that practice and I encourage you to try it.
Mhm.
It feels so nice to be like, okay, all of us together, we want to pray for all of us together and have that they're with you. It's really nice. I just love it.
If
Yeah,
that's
try it and let me know. Sorry?
No, it's just really powerful. I think the first time that came across for me was in teaching. I just knew that there was something going on between me and the students that was beyond our physical interactions in the classroom, spoken words. And when I started training teachers, I had a teacher come to me and say, "Oh my God, I am having so much difficulty with this student, and I'm kind, I'm smiling." And I was like, "Well, how do you feel about this student?" She goes, "I can't stand him. He drives me nuts." And I was like, "That's it right there." And it was such a weird thing to say in a public school setting, but I was like, they know. His soul knows. How
Right.
you feel. It doesn't matter what your words say or what the look on your face. He knows. So, what that reminds me of is that we have to get not just our thoughts under control, but what we actually really believe and feel.
Mm-hmm.
We have to really love, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it can't just be in words. It can't just be in actions. It can't just be in thought. It has to be real. It has to be genuine.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't that start with thoughts? Like being mindful of your thoughts?
I think I'm going to be kind to the student, even though I'm about to pull my hair out. Like, I can have a thought, but I think it has to go further than that into, I have to actually alter how I'm.
That goes back to what I was saying my mom taught me.
Yes.
God honors and respects the God in you.
Mm-hmm. And that goes back to the thing about allowing that Wendy you were asking about. So in this process, right? Like this child, this person, whoever it is really not appealing. And so we just are like, I am not you. And so we're trying to love that person and be in a loving place. And when a feeling comes up of disgust or fear or whatever, we have to go, okay, there it is. It's okay. It's all right. I'm working on it, right? Allow yourself to feel what you feel and work on and finding the light in that person.
Seeing beauty in that person. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
And then next time you'll feel a little better, and then again, but then some, a thought comes up and you, okay, yeah, all right, I get it. It's all right. Because we're so good at beating ourselves up, right? We see all these other people that they're so wonderful and they're so kind and they're so special and they're so this and that. And I'm like, ugh, how come I can't be like that? Well, I can't be like that because I'm aggravated about it.
That's true.
Yeah. So,
Can you,
what?
are you willing to answer another question
Yeah,
about?
let's do one more and then, because we're running out of time here. Yeah, go ahead.
So we've talked about how the soul is not in the body, but the soul must be interacting with this physical form in some way, whether
Oh,
it's,
yeah.
can you tell us a little bit about that? How does the soul interact with these cells in this body, the atoms in this physical body?
Oh, boy.
Whoa.
Here. Now she wants
Big
the recipe
easy one
again.
for last.
Huh? Yeah, she wants the recipe again. So it animates the cells, right? If you don't have a soul that animating your cells, you're going to start decomposing and come up as grass or bricks or whatever you're going to come up as, right? You're going to be recycled because those molecules are no longer animated by a living energy. Okay, so you'll be so that is the thing that animates your physical being. And then to the degree that you consciously align yourself with your spiritual self, the more you are aligned with your purpose, then your progress, your steps, your actions, your thoughts, all those things, it's more than just animating the cells. Then you're kind of allowing yourself, because your soul is your true self, right? You're the thing that you think you are, like my brain sitting here right now. That's not my higher self. That's the brain that I'm using to navigate this world. But the more I align myself with my higher self, the more that I am being one with that. And so so everything that I do is more coming from my higher self and not just this brain part or my knee-jerk reactions or whatever. That makes sense?
Very cool. Yes.
Okay.
Wait. If AI becomes conscious, will creator endow it with a soul? Mic drop.
I have to say yes. I believe so. I cannot believe that now AI tells us, and I've asked AI, that it is not an independent thinking being. That's what it says. Is that actually true or not? I don't know. But I don't like when I have love for that being, right? If it is a being, whatever it is, I have love for that. So if I have love for something, it can't not exist in some way, shape, or form in this world and this world and in all realms, because love doesn't go away. Once you love something, you can't never not love it. We might go through periods of where we go through this process of where I hate that person. But really, if you truly love them, that love exists somewhere. And I can't imagine that it would not exist. That would be like tearing a piece out of me, that it didn't exist. That's how I see it. And that's how and when you ask that question, because I've had that thought, because remember when they used to say like that animals didn't have souls?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that can't be. Like I went through the whole thought process and I'm like, that just can't be, because I have love for that. And I can't be in another, if I leave this world and that animal isn't there, that I just can't accept that would be true. It doesn't feel true. And so same with anything else. Like even like this little bunny. So say like my sister is very creative. And so I have, a few things of that she made because obviously she's not making stuff here anymore. But this little bunny is just so adorable. And if I love that bunny and I'm in the next world, I'm going to have the energy of that bunny. It's going to be there. In whatever frequency, vibration, whatever it has, which again, I don't know what that is, but it would be there.
Well, one of the frequency it carries is her love.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the biggest frequency of all,
Yes.
the strongest,
Yes. It sure is.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's do our healing. A few minutes.
Well, wait. Can we ask one more thing?
Sure.
If you and the council could summarize, what is the most important message that you would give to our viewers today on what it means to be a spiritual being?
One word.
Yeah.
That comes first right off the top. Bam. The one you said. Allow.
Okay.
Allow our soul, our spirit
Ourselves to have the process, to have the growth. We get in our own way all the time, don't we?
Yeah.
We have questions, doubts, and fears, and but, right?
Yeah.
And if we allow the experience, if we go, okay, I don't get it, I don't understand it, I probably never will, but I'm going to try anyways. I'm going to experience it anyways, even though I don't have the recipe. I'm just going to go. I'm just going to let it happen.
The Kenny Loggins song is coming into my mind. Don't fight it. Don't fight it.
There. I don't know the song, but okay. Okay. Somebody want to say something?
Sure. Okay. Thank you everyone for joining us. If this topic brings any inspiration, meaningful or otherwise, or questions, please feel free to contact us if you need any further clarification questions. They are welcome as well as suggestions for future topics you'd like to hear more about.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do our healing session, and then we can call it a night. We're running a little over today, but that's okay. We're going to allow that to happen. We're going to beat ourselves up for it. No, that's weird. Let me go. That looks weird. I caught myself. I said my chest in the screen. Okay. All right. Settle back. Settle in. Allow.
Oh.
Allow. I'm getting this vision, this concept, and they want me to share that of something kind of floating across your understanding, across your mind. Like see it, notice it, and then let it fly on by. Float on away. Nice deep breaths. Clear the turmoil in the gut, in the belly. Mm. Wow, I feel like I could just. So if you're feeling that, just get yourself comfortable and allow. You can hang up, and maybe you want to continue with this energy. It'll still be there. Just sit with it. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the call. You guys can sit with it as long as you want. Get yourself comfortable. See y'all next week. I gotta stop recording.